Before I start, I just want to say that from what I have played of Stella Sora, which is about 5 to 6 hours, is actually quite enjoyable, and I would like to see what more could happen with this game. However, there is way too many problems surrounding the game right now that I feel compelled to hold off on a more in-depth discussion until we are in a much healthier game state. Stella Sora is a top-down dungeon-crawling character action roguelite game developed in-house by YoStar, publishers of recognizable IPs like Azure Lane and Arc Knights. To some of you, it's just What If Blue Archive, but Diablo-like. The gameplay is quite interesting and reminiscent of Snowbreak Containment Zone, but in an aforementioned Diablo format. The primary game mode sees you ascend a tower in roguelite fashion with your typical buffs, shops, event rooms, and boss floors as you progress. After completing your run, the build you had at the end of the run is saved as a record and is then used to participate in all the other game modes, such as your stamina-consuming farming activities, for example. You form a team of 3 characters. The first character being the one you actively play, with an auto attack when an enemy is in range, as well as a dodge, skill, and ultimate. Your 2 supporting characters remain off-field and can be called upon to cast supporting skills and their own ultimate. Everyone has a skill, support skill, and ultimate. So, theoretically, anyone could be the main party member, even if it's not viable to do so for obvious character role reasons. Every character also has their own unique tailor-made buffs that they can acquire when participating in the roguelite mode. You also have your weapon system known as discs, with a couple unique passive effects as well as the note system. Notes are small stat buffs like max HP and critical hit damage, for example, that are accumulated as you progress dungeon floors. A certain amount of specific notes are required to activate the Harmony skill on 4-star and 5-star discs equipped in the 3 main slots, with the 3 discs in the support slots only providing their base stats and the additional drop chance of specific notes. Discs are not intrinsically tied to individual characters, as you equip up to 6 that can benefit all party members at once. Though it seems all discs currently in the game, or at least I'm aware of, focus primarily on buffing one of the element types in the game that each character is tied to. So the meta right now seems to be just horizontal progression as you fill out as many mono-element teams and disc loadouts as soon as possible. And that's about as far as I want to go with talking about the game. I like the inverted approach where the roguelike content in this game, that you're used to in a lot of gacha games, is used as the backbone that then feeds into every other system of the game, and the combat itself feels good enough to have my attention. So with all of that out of the way, what are the biggest problems with Stella Sora right now? A last-minute doubling of required currency to pull on banners, and the banner systems in general, a lack of early game rewards, I want to come back to this one in a moment, time gating, and a lack of content. Here are the cliff notes for the gacha system. Apologies if I get anything wrong, but even if there is a correction or two that's in the game's favor, the game still needs a lot of things in its favor right now that just me making a mistake on how bad the system currently is isn't going to be enough. 5 stars are a 2% chance with the 50-50 system. Weapons are the same, but with a 75-25 system. 4 stars have an 8% chance. All characters have a dupe system that goes up to 5 additional duplicates. Every dupe you earn gets you 60 shards for a 5-star and 30 shards for a 4-star. Every 6 shards consumed gives a small passive bonus, and after 60 shards are consumed, you unlock the dupe passive. So, maxing out a 4-star will require you to pull up to 10 duplicates, while a 5-star only requires 5. You are not guaranteed the limited 5-star if you pull 2 5-stars early and the first one was a loss. I'm not sure about this one, don't quote me on this. You are guaranteed the limited character or disc at 160 for characters and 120 for weapons. This resets, presumably, if you win an early 5-star pull. There's a one-time guarantee for a character at 120 pulls that is independent from the 160 guarantee pulls. It is not currently clear if this is a one-time offer or this is available every time we get a new banner. And here's the biggest one, the cost per pull before launch was 150 currency, but has now been changed to 300 after launch. This, when combined with the lack of in-game rewards, has eroded any meaningful discussion of Stella Sora as a game clear through and may never recover without massive overhauls and a titanic load of bribes to players. I will not be making any excuses for the gacha system or the last-minute currency changes. However, I want to take a moment to talk about the lack of rewards for a second. After you finish the game's tutorial, you are directed to pull on the beginner banner system. You can do a 10 pull for free 20 times, and save up to 5 of those pulls as you go through them and then claim one of the 5 results you saved for yourself. These 10 pulls can include a maximum of 1 5-star standard character. There is also a login event that gives you a free standard 5-star weapon on day 2 and another free to claim standard 5-star character selector at day 5, with at least one more possible event for another standard 5-star weapon available somewhere in the game if we are going by the pre-release preview information. While I agree to an extent that the rewards from early game are quite low, I think it's important to remember that players can get an upward of 2 standard 5-star characters and weapons right out of the gate, and Yostar likely took that into account when determining the reward distribution. If you are bummed out at the low amount of premium currency to pull for Chitose, then I understand. But also, you should really just re-roll your account until you pull her in the 20 limited pulls you start with. A 2% chance at a 5-star is nothing to scoff at, even if everything else surrounding the gacha system is complete dog water.
What's up? Did
Homie, I think I got Chitose. Cocksucker.
I want that one. I want that. I want that one.
I don't want that one. Okay.
There's no way. Bruh.
We're keeping this account. This is the account.
Bruh. Okay.
To close out my first impressions, I like the concepts and core gameplay loop of Stella Sora, even if it looks like the whole house is on fire right now. Because it is. I'd say at the very least, pick the game up as a exclusively free-to-play player, and just wait to get a feel for if the game will make a recovery or abandon ship at your discretion. If you want to pull for Chitose, then I recommend just re-rolling your account using the salting method on your primary email until you get her. Then, pray you get a standard 5-star you want from the beginner banner. And even if you don't get who you want from the 20 initial pulls, there is always the character selector on login day 5 to fall back on. It is unfortunately a shame that it's come to this, but I at least want to see where things will go from here.